Question, yeah.
Three-part question. How do you analyze the content that comes out of the community? What's the outcome of that analysis? And how does that outcome interface with the other research efforts that you might have going on, market or consumer research efforts?
Well, one thing I have to specify, most of the research dedicated to use is done through the community. So we are not doing that much outside. We did a few, before starting the community, we did some research dedicated to use. Mm-hmm. Currently, mainly all the things dedicated to use is done through the community. So we are not really comparing, doing two things in parallel. We are really focusing, this is dedicated to use, and we take it from here. How do we analyze? We get some reports. So every topic we post ourselves. There is a report coming from Communispace at the end, after the 2 weeks of presence over there. After 1 week after, we get a report. So this is the analysis we have from this side. Of course, from our side, we look at it, we go through all the things which are said, so we have our own interpretation as well. Then what we do internally, because this is like mainly myself and my colleague for Consumer Insight, then every person who has wrote the topic receive this report, and we discuss together about the report and with Consumer Insight and marketing. But it can be online team. I mean, it can be anyone in the company who wants to have something linked to that target. It's not only product development, catalog creation. So we have always a discussion all together, and we have also then something which is more on a quarterly basis. We have a discussion with the regions, because we have all the marketing management from the regions coming in Stockholm, and we have a meeting there. And youth is one of the topics discussed in that meeting every quarter. So there we discuss about the outcomes and about also how it will be developed in the local countries and how it will be adapted. Because we try to have like the global proposal, but then regions are quite powerful in our Oriflame organization. So they also can adapt a little bit the way. So communication towards youth might be a little bit different in Latin America than in Russia, for example.
Yes.
I wonder, why do you use only 300 people? Why don't you enlarge the group so that you have better or more insights that you can use?
Yeah, because for insights you don't need to have big quantities. I mean, it's more the quality of the people you have. So we have recruited 300. There is a cost, of course, reason for that, because the bigger the community, the bigger the cost also. But basically with 300 people you have like quite enough people to discuss. If you do focus groups, for example, we never have 300 people discussing. And we don't see it at all as a quantitative measure. So we put surveys, that's true. So we get some ranking and some percentages, but it's always set as indicative. That's one of my tasks always, to refrain marketing by saying, oh, this is statistically relevant. I say, no, this is a qualitative tool. We have some statistics, but just for indication. Don't take them as statistically relevant. So we don't need to have more people for having better insights, I would say. 300 is enough.
And I will say, just to build on that we've done this and sort of made a science out of these communities too, that we found that 300 to 500 is really kind of the sweet spot. And to Jacques' point, if you get many fewer than that, you can kind of have that dynamic of a focus group where you just have a couple of people really dominating the conversation and can kind of go off in that direction. You also don't really sort of feel a part of something, and it's just sort of a different kind of social interaction in the community. If you have many more than that, so there are a lot of panel companies that will say 2,000 people, and that's really kind of getting into the quantitative space. But at the same time, that number of kind of 2,000, we've certainly done and tried communities that are that large, but you don't get the participation, you don't get the vibrancy, that people end up kind of coming into the community and not participating at all. So, we call them lurkers, the people that just kind of go in, look around, but this is about participation, and the idea that the more I get you to open up and share your life, the more insight will be within that. I can't do that now with 2,000 people if you're not going to open up, and if it's much fewer than that, at the 100 or less than that kind of level, you don't kind of feel part of something and the connectivity to a real community. So that 300 to 500 is really sort of the sweet spot there.
I can also complement saying that they are recruited with specific criteria also. So it's not 300 lambda person. It's we had a screener at the beginning. Obviously, English, for example, was one of the criteria, so that they could express themselves in written as well perfectly to participate. But also we had questions about their openness, open-mindedness, openness to change, center of interest, and so on. Those kind of things. So that we wanted to have people who we knew that they were more able to connect together, to speak, to share their experiences and so on. So it's and that's why you have 300 kind, but it's not 300 like this. It's something a little bit more than that.
Yes.
Yeah. When you're analysing the feedback about the brand, what's the kind of split between consumers suggesting ideas for innovation, for new products, versus maybe people complaining about existing products and wanting to improve? Do you have a kind of feel for what the balance is?
There are more positive things than negative things, but there are both. So there are some complaints. We have had one consultant raising a topic about why did they cancel that product, is not available anymore, and then we had like 20 other ones jumping on it and saying, yeah, that's normal. So we have those kind of things. We have some complaints about some products sometimes, because that's an easy way for them to get hurt instead of going to their local service center and complain then. And, here they know that Oriflame is watching this, so it's a quick way to do it. But it's not a lot of complaints. It's more like suggestions to new products. But from our part as well, we will post, and we have already posted things like asking them for suggestions. So telling them, okay, what do you find, for example, one of the questions, there's no secret for that, what do you find in your market that is not available in Oriflame? Tell us, and tell us what is good about it, and even give us the product if you have it. And then people start saying, okay, here I can have this and so on. But then also we ask them, for example, about telling us how they use the products. And then we can also find new ideas, new ways to present it in the catalog and so on. So those are the kinds of, so they come really with suggestions, practical suggestions. This is one part. And then this is more like improving or trying to have new products, of course. And then we have more the discovery part, which is more like the thing which is not that obvious, which is not really expressed, but which is latent, and this is the kind of things we want to discover. But this is more like then in the analysis part. It's not said like, it's not written. It's something, when you read different things, then you say, there is something there, maybe we take it. But I would say, because there are sales consultants, when 90% is like suggestions and 10% is complaint. Give you what I can.
So we just have one final question. We just have a couple of minutes left, and even as we're asking the final question, if you want to jot down sort of the 3 to 5 key takeaways that you have from this session, ideas on how we could change it, do differently, please let us know. Yeah.
I understand very well that it can really contribute to incremental and evolutionary innovation, to take your methodology or your wording. Don't want to be better maybe to look at the new customer, new needs, instead of projecting already the answers to you salespeople and to sales consultants, trying to understand what is the job that the customer wants to solve in buying your products, or what are the unarticulated needs, because that's about really more innovation. It's about better brand, better products, but products is already, you're already framing very much the answers to your salespeople. I was wondering if you have a... I know that your community was more directed to this part, but...
Yeah, but we raise also those kind of questions. We try to understand how they live and so on. So we, for example, one of the topics we had at the end of year was what were their activities, or how did they dress? I mean, it's nothing we don't sell dress, but we try to also discover those kind of things and find their lifestyle a little bit to understand. So it's not only about products, for sure. We do a lot about products. We do a lot about catalogs, also the way we will present the product. But we try to understand also to get some insights into other things, into their lifestyle, that will bring us idea afterwards. Because what we can do also based on this, we get sometimes some insights, then we brainstorm internally as well, and we have creative sessions also internally. So that this is complementary to this. So we are not just looking for improving products. Of course,